In this episode, we follow up with D&D monsters that make you want to say, what the f***? Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Days of Dorker Past. My name's Rob, and in this episode we're going to continue the countdown of D&D monsters from 1st edition that make you want to say, WTF. Before we get the show on the road, I need to admit this is the second time I'm filming this. The first one was corrupted somehow, and when I went to edit it, it had no sound at all. So let's fingers crossed that this one holds up and you'll be seeing it. Anyway, before we get started, here's a disclaimer. Number 20 on the list is larva. And I know what you're thinking. Baby bugs, right? No. That would be way too simple. In the world of D&D, a larva is a selfish soul that has been banished to hell. And it's pretty much just a worm with a human head on it. There's no fear that these man-sized creatures will attack you, I guess, unless they want to steamroll over you. But they're just like a flourish thrown in that didn't really need its own monster write-up. It could have just been text. I mean, it's pretty weird, and frankly, it's useless. Number 19 on the list is the Babbler. Now, the Babbler is pretty much just a smaller T-Rex, but it just happens to crawl on all fours, and then when it attacks, it goes up like your classic T-Rex to attack. In my opinion, if you're going to do a campaign with one of these, just throw in a T-Rex. I think your players would probably be a lot more excited to relive their Jurassic Park memories than to deal with this stupid thing. Now, number 18 on the list is the Oblovax. That's how you pronounce it. And what it is a mold that will appear in humanoid form. And it feeds off of memories. That could be pretty cool. Get your players mixed up, get them turned around, have them have an amnesia, if you will. But what makes this truly WTF is, if you want to regain your memories, you need to eat it. That's right, this black fungus moss dude you have to eat. And with this expression, I just wonder if it would shriek out in terror. Number 17 is the Kamadan. Now, one of the most freakish creatures in D&D, but it's a classic, is the Displacer Beast. The Displacer Beast is a black panther with, like, hooked tendrils that moves out of sync with our reality. So you never truly know where it's at, because it's always about 3 seconds behind or ahead. Really neat monster. That will never appear on a WTF list. But this thing will. It's pretty much just a jaguar with snakes protruding from its back. So it's kind of the same, except more stupid. Number 16 on the list is the classic gelatinous cube. Now, I had trouble adding this to the list because of just how iconic and classic it really is. But come on, a big Jello's Wiggler coming down the hallway at you, not scary. But honestly it is, because the Jello, if you will, that makes up its body is very acidic, and once you're absorbed into it, it'll digest you in a few days and just expel the parts that it doesn't eat. Number 15 on the list is the Morkoth. Now granted, the Morkoth really isn't that bad of a creature. It lives under the ocean in the darkest depths and will attack and eat anybody that enters its realm. Now that's pretty cool. But what makes this a WTF monster is just how it looks. and a lot of that falls on this artwork. So that aside, it's not a bad creature, but this picture just really sinks the ship. Now, number 14 on the list is a sheet phantom. And yes, this is your classic ghost with a sheet over it that will come and get you. There's something that can be said about the story elements that this monster could bring, but in all honesty, just a sheet ghost floating around, not scary. Especially when you think of Charlie Brown with the sheet with all the holes in it. Yeah, kind of takes the scariness out of ghosts. Number 13 on the list is Lava Children. This is definitely on the list because of how they look. These little, chubby, childlike creatures, yeah, they have a perpetual smile on their face as they try to track you down, and just their get-up. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but it really looks like Charlie's 27 from the original Guardians of the Galaxy. But everything between its boyish good looks and its overalls, just WTF. Number 12 on the list is the Zarin. Yes, this is just a carbon copy of the Zorn that we saw in last episode, but the difference is it doesn't run and hide if you were to surprise it. No, this one will try to track you down to eat your precious metals and your swords and armor and all the cool crap that you carry. It wants to eat it. So it doesn't really attack, but it just kind of hangs around and begs for money like a bum. So, no. Lame. Number 11 on the list is a Gore Bell. This is on the list, again, because of its art choice. Hanging onto your back and looking more like, hey buddy, what's up? Not scary. These red, rubbery creatures are irritable, mischievous, and fickle. Yeah, it attaches to you and just kind of hangs on and attacks. I mean, yeah. I guess in some aspects that could be pretty cool, but once you team that up with this picture, it blows all cool credibility out the window. Number 10 on the list is a Flumph. And yes, you heard that correctly, Flumph. Now these little gas bags suck in air and then expel it to propel itself around through the air. And when it does hover above you, it attacks by dropping down and stabbing you with its nail-like appendages on the underneath. And I don't mean like nails, I mean like nails. It has spike protrusions that will stick in you, and that's about it. Now, number 9 on the list is another classic monster, and that is the Otyugh, or Neo-Otyugh, which is just a bigger and smarter version of an Otyugh. But what makes an Otyugh WTF, other than its design that we've seen 100 times before of flailing tentacles, a single eye, and just a sloppy body, is the fact it eats poop. Yes, the Otyugh is known to frequent sewers because it lives off of excrement. So, one thing that is nasty about it is if it bites you, you'll become infected and, you'll get gangrene and all that wonderful stuff, all because it eats poop. Number 8 on the list is a creature straight out of nature, but unlike what the disclaimer said of animals, I have to throw this on because they totally go into left field, and that is a carnivorous flying squirrel. That's right, you heard me. A carnivorous flying squirrel. Just imagine how awesome some episodes of Rocky and Bullwinkle would have been if Rocky was a carnivorous flying squirrel. But anyway, just the fact that this cute little critter will come swooping off of a tree at you and latch itself onto your face and try to gnaw away while it's eating you. Yeah. I mean, kind of creepy, but what the F. Now for number 7, the Tirafig, let me consult the book, because I want to get this right. Let's listen. This 7-foot tall, naked and hairless humanoid is human-like, but there are significant deviations from the human form. The creature has 3 heads, of which the outer 2 are featureless. The middle head has 3 large, deep inset eyes, 2 in the front and 1 in the rear. It has ear-like organs on each side, but no mouth. From the body of this creature spring 3 arms. The two at the shoulders are joined in a way that they can attack to the rear equally as good as the front. These are prehensile limbs with a 6-inch long spike at the end of each, instead of hands. The third arm, emerging centrally from the chest, is like a human arm, except that the hand has 3 strong fingers. Of the creature's 3 legs, the outer 2 are stumps, and the central one has 3 unusually long and strong toes. Its mouth is located in its belly below the central arm. This is for the sole purpose of eating. The creature's favorite diet being decaying flesh. Above the mouth are 3 3-inch long tentacles, which writhe continuously. The function of these organs is unknown. I know their function, just to be really freaking weird. Number 6 on the list is yet again another classic monster that I kind of feel bad about adding to the list, but let's just take a look at it. The Intellect Devourer. Now, this is a very, very deadly monster. It has powerful arms and legs like that of a lion, but its body itself is a giant brain. So, when you're staring at it dumbfounded, it will pounce on you like a ferocious animal. But still, that brain thing, what the F? Number 5 is the Gibbering Mouther. Granted, it looks like something from an H.P. Lovecraft novel. The Gibbering Mouther is just a collection of eyes and mouths in a gloopy, slimy body. Could be really cool for an adventure, but I mean, let's be honest here. It's nasty. It's dumb. What the F? Number 4 on the list are Crabmen. These are a little less cool of the crab people from South Park and a little more dumb. I mean, let's look at what they look like. Now, these dudes live by the seashore and they only come out to, attack a village, to plunder, and to possibly bring a woman home to mom for dinner. Totally, could be cool, but just how they look, yeah, they really botched this one. Number 3 on the list is a Thought Eater. Now, I kind of struggled with adding this one because it is slightly, maybe, can be based on Australian myth, but let's face it, with how this thing looks, it's a skeletal platypus, which is really neat, but being neat alone just doesn't cut it. You really have to look at this thing and say, what the F? Number 2 on the list is one of my personal favorites, and that is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, the one thing about this is, this has 0 to do with a wolf, 0 to do with a sheep, and more to do with a tree. This is a living stump, that its roots are tendrils that allow it to propel itself and attack people. Now, it lures creatures in with this cute and fuzzy bunny on top, kind of like an anglerfish, and it's a really cool and deadly creature, but it's one of those things of you need to have a certain adventure, a certain point to use this thing. This just isn't a random encounter. Well, I guess it could be in the forest. Like I said, I think this thing's really cool, but there's just something about it that makes me say WTF. Now, number 1 on the list, and granted this is in no particular order, is a Grell. Yet again, capitalizing on the whole brain creepy thing, the Grell has a beak like a bird, well, more like a parrot or something, or even an octopus, and tendrils. We just love the tendrils. It's deadly, it'll attack you, it'll eat you, but just that brain thing, what were they thinking when they created this? What? A brain. Come on now. Between last episode and this episode, we have 40 of the what the F creatures from D&D's first edition. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I kind of sped through this one, but like I said, I had a horrible time in the editing process because there was no sound. It's really weird. And for those watching on the date this is dropping, this will be another week without a "It came from my side of the laundry room." Between last week and this week, I simply just ran out of time because I've been testing out new software and new hardware, and I'm having a dickens of a time. But anyway, if you like what you saw, leave a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them and I love getting back to you guys. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, subscribe. Every week I come at you with a great walk down memory lane of the 1980s and sometimes even the 1990s. But if you want to know when a new episode drops, hit the bell and you'll be the first to know. So, until next time, keep being rad, stay dorky, see ya!